everybody. Early morning. We weren't supposed to start for a bit, but I wanted to start a little bit early so I could go over some of the breaking news that has come out. As far as I know, you guys are going to have to forgive my voice today. As a lot of you know that have been here over the last month or so on the lives, I've been doing a lot of coughing and stuff. And we've come to find out that we had the fire department here last night. We had a gas leak. So, hello, Gabby. So they've had to call in gas company and whatnot. So that's what's been making my throat clog up. It wasn't a bad leak, but I guess the actual gas coming into the house and just dispersing amongst the house could have been very dangerous. So that's what's been causing a lot of my breathing issues and coughing issues. So I do have an appointment with the doctor later on today. But that's what's been causing the headaches and the irritation in the throat. Oh, thank you, everybody. I mean, thank God we caught it. And my alarm kept going off and I couldn't figure out why. And so they came in and they did some testing. It wasn't the exhaust from the furnace, but there was a gas leak. So that's what's been causing all this for me, because my doctors couldn't figure it out and figured it was maybe just a little cold or whatever. So please bear with me with that. And I am a smoker on top of that and have asthma on top of that. So, I mean, it's not a good combination. But I will do my best to mute myself if I have to feel like I've got a cough. But that's what's been drying out my throat and causing a lot of my problems lately. So please forgive me and please bear with me with that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am keeping an eye on the courtroom, because we are going to be able to stream the Zoom meeting. So I do have that up and ready. That won't be starting until noon. I don't know what's going to be happening in this, but I'm going to let you guys know that, hi Des, thank you. I know Gabby's there helping to mod. I'm not sure. Let me just check and see. I'm going to unpin that because it's interrupting my chat here. Summer Dawn's here. Thank you, Summer. Des is on the road driving towards New York City, so she will be spotty at times. My niece Gabby is doing the modding while Des is driving, so let me just check here. Okay, thank you, Gabby, for helping out. I appreciate it. Thank you, Summer, for being here. I've got Summer and my niece in here modding for us, you guys. So please, if you do see something that I don't see, bring it to the attention. You do the @ symbol to either, oh, and there's Rosie too. Thank you, Rosie, for being here. To either my sister, Daring D, Dauntless Detours, Summer, Rosie, and they will alert me to it. Okay, thanks, Des. Okay, so I'm going to just give you a brief. We'll get through as much of the court filings as we can. It's not in the court, on the court record as of yet, but I do have it via a reporter, so you'll be seeing that in a second. But basically, excuse me, Mark Means has been disqualified from the case. Now, this goes back, if you remember a lot of the other lives that I did with them in court. They were going on these side bars in breakout rooms and stuff like that. And we're all wondering what the heck is going on. Well, this goes back to July 27th, you guys, of this year, that the state filed a motion objecting to the entry of Mark Means as counsel for Lori Vallow. So this goes back to July of this year when the state filed this motion. So I think a lot of these breakout rooms and stuff like that was involving this, because as we know, I've stated it many, many times, Mark Means is off the rails. He doesn't know what he's doing. He should not be on this case. He's not a criminal lawyer, let alone a death penalty case lawyer. He doesn't have the qualifications for that. So the state was getting fed up. He tried to have Rob Wood removed from the case, all these frivolous motions. It's like the head was just spinning, right? So now we do know that on July 27th, the state filed the motion objecting to the entry of Mark Means for counsel for Lori. So since then, there's been a lot of under seal hearings, stuff like that, where even Chad's lawyer and Chad were brought in on it. And Chad questioned regarding this. And it all goes back to, like, what did you discuss with Mark? What was your understanding of Mark? Was he your lawyer? When was he your lawyer? Stuff like this. Chad Daybell was under the understanding that if both he and Lori had Mark Means as a lawyer, then they couldn't testify against each other. All kinds of crap that's going on. Like I said, we will try and get through the filing as much as we can before the court date for Lori starts. Maybe continue it after if we can't get through it. There's going to be a lot of it I skip, you guys, because it's just basically case law that they're referring to and stuff like that, which, I mean, if you want to read it, it's going to be here on the live. You can pause and read that part, but I think the important parts I will be able to get through. Yeah, Rosie, no more circus. So let me just bring this over here so I can. How am I going to do this? Okay, so good morning, everybody. I'm sorry if I haven't been able to shout you out. I'm trying to save my voice as much as I can. It has gotten really bad over the last few days, like I said, because of this gas leak. But it's been taken care of through the gas company now, so hopefully things start getting better for my voice. Let me just get this going here for you guys so we can start sharing this. Okay, I'm gonna, oh crap. Okay, I guess I'm gonna have to do it from here. It's just, I've got it on my smaller screen and I can't see it as good, so it's bothering my eyes, but let's see if I can't. No, I can't even blow it up here. Well, I guess I can a little bit. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about, the memorandum decision in order for disqualifying counsel. Okay, so this was filed initially. This was filed back in July of July 27th of this year. But this was just heard, and the order, you can see up here, the order was just ordered on the 28th of December. Now, I've got this from Justin Lum from Facebook, as it's not in the record yet. So we will have to go through it here. If it was on the record already, I would be able to do a little bit different setup. So thank you, everybody, for joining, and good morning to everybody. Let's please keep this chat respectable and whatnot. My mods are watching out for anything that should not be shared. I ask that you do not mention other channels. For obvious reasons, you guys, in these true crime cases, there's a lot of fighting, arguing, doxing, all kinds of things that are going on, and I just don't want to be part of it. And one way that I can do that and keep that from my channel being drawn into it, or any of you being drawn into it, is to not mention other people, other channels, etc. Okay, sorry about that, you guys. I'm really coughing bad, so when I can, I'm going to mute it out. So you see here on July 27th, the plaintiff, the state of Idaho, filed a motion objecting to the entry of Mark Means for counsel for the defendant, Lori Vallow, and requested this court to conduct an inquiry into whether Mr. Means had a non-waivable conflict to deny the entry of Mr. Means as counsel in the case and to appoint capital counsel for Vallow. To support its motion, the state filed a memoriam including 3 exhibits and an expert of sealed findings of fact entered in the case CR 22-2838, which is Lori's case. Afterward, the court heard the parties in a closed hearing on September 8, 2021, where the state submitted Exhibit 4, an audio file of an April 28, 2020 recorded. This date is going to come into play, okay? So we got to remember this date. But they provided an exhibit, and it was a recorded jail call between Vallow and Daybell for in-camera review. Therefore, the court determined an inquiry was necessary to assist the court in determining the merits of the state's contentions that Mr. Means' ability to adequately represent his client were compromised due to an alleged conflict. And you got to give me a bit. This page here, for some reason, is really blurry, and it's really doing a number on my eyes here. So as a result, on October 8th, 2021, the court conducted an in-camera inquiry with Vallow's co-defendant, Chad Guy Daybell, in assertion whether Mr. Means had ever represented Daybell, such as the purported representation rose to the level of an actual conflict. Let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. And whether the conflict was waivable or non-waivable. Daybell is currently represented by attorney John Pryor in case CR 22-21-1623. That's his case, who was present with Daybell during the inquiry. Having considered all the submitted briefing in both Fremont County case numbers, and they give the case numbers of, these are both Chad and Lori here, as well as the findings of fact and conclusion of the law entered by the magistrate in Lori's case, where this issue previously arose, and having heard the parties in multiple hearings address the concerns raised by the state, and the court orders now as follows. So this is going to be the factual background. There's going to be a lot of dates that you're going to see here, you guys. So I don't know how well we can all follow along here, but there's a lot of dates being entered, and they all mean something as to if Mark Means perjured himself. Okay. At the outset of this, court has considered and reviewed the findings of fact entered by the magistrate on July 31st, 2020 in Lori's case, okay, and determined those findings to be accurate. As those findings were made in a sealed document, and the court having found that good cause exists to disseminate portions of that document in consideration of this decision, the magistrate's findings are included herein verbatim as follows. Findings of facts. A. Lori and Chad were mailed. Oh my gosh, you guys, my head is pounding too, so please forgive me. Lori and Chad were married on November 5th, 2019. At the time of their marriage, Lori Vallow had 2 minor children, Joshua J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan. On February 20th, 2020, Lori was arrested in Hawaii with 2 counts of felony desertion of a child, as well as a misdemeanor charges of resisting and obstructing an officer, solicitation of a crime, and contempt of court under Madison County jurisdiction. That's for not producing the kids. Okay, so also Rexburg law enforcement took Lori into custody on March 4th, 2020, and she was extradited from Hawaii to Idaho. Lori retained Mr. Means. The exact date is unknown. On March 21st, 2020, I can't blow this page up for some reason. Chad retrieved, so March. This is now before that April date where they said that, where Chad had said in that interview, telephone conversation, that he had Mark Means, but he actually said he retained Mr. Pryor, who works in the same building as Mr. Means. On March 21st, according to Mr. Pryor, or March 31st, according to the documents submitted, Lori and Chad signed a conflict of interest waiver. On April, Mr. Means posted, so this is after. So on March 21st, Chad retained Mr. Pryor, but on April 28th, which is like over a month later, Mr. Means posted the following on Twitter. Please note, and there's spelling here, errors here as usual, as per Mark Means, always spelling errors, that this office notice being provided by other means as well represents Mr. Chad Daybell. So this is a month after, according to Mark Means and John Pryor, that he had attained Mr. Pryor. If any agency investigative authority wishes to contact my client, please contact my office directly. On April 28th, Mr. Means sent a press release to the state stating that please take notice that this office represents Mr. Chad Daybell. Please direct all requests and communication statements of the like to this office. On April 28th, Lori and Chad had a visit via telephone tablet in the Madison County Jail. During this conversation, Chad stated, Mark Means is my attorney. So this is after, a month later, after he had said that he had already retained Pryor. Chad alluded he had shared confidential information with Mr. Means, and Chad believed he would be covered by client-attorney privilege. The video recording also suggested that Chad believed he would not have to testify against Lori if Mark Means represented them both. On May 2nd, so a few weeks later, Mr. Means told the court during a bail reduction hearing in Madison County for Lori that he represented both Lori and Chad. On June 9th, 2020, a search warrant was executed at Chad's property. During the search, Chad called Mr. Means before calling Mr. Pryor. Based on the findings from the search warrant on June 10th, 2020, Chad was charged with 2 counts of felony destruction, alteration, or concealment of evidence under Idaho Code 18-2603. These charges were amended on June 30th, 2020 to include 2 felony counts of conspiracy to destroy, alter, or conceal evidence. Lori was listed in the criminal complaint as a co-conspirator. Lori was charged with 2 felony counts of conspiracy to destroy, alter, or conceal evidence on June 29th. Chad was listed in the criminal complaint as a co-conspirator. The court has made additional inquiries and reviewed facts set forth in the record in this case since the time of the magistrate's finding, and therefore, in addition to the magistrate's finding, considers the following. On February 20th, 2020, Lori Vallow was arrested and charged with 2 counts of felony desertion, of a child, and several misdemeanors in connection with the disappearance of Vallow's 2 minor children, Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow. Initially, Vallow was represented by Sean Barthlick. However, Barthlick notified the state that in the event Vallow was charged, it's going to say with a crime, he would not represent her. Sometime in late February, early March, Chad Daybell retained Mark Means and paid a sum of money to him to represent his wife, Lori Vallow Daybell. Mr. Means entered his appearance as Lori's counsel on March 4th, 2020, in the child desertion case. As co-counsel with 2 other attorneys who no longer represent Vallow, we know they quit. They were fed up with Means. They backed out. Later that month, on March 21st, 2020, attorney John Pryor began representing Daybell, which I find is funny, but because he hadn't been charged yet. But Mr. Pryor previously confirmed that representation due to Magistrate Judge Edens, although no written notice of appearance had been filed as of that date by Pryor, because because Daybell had no case pending against him at the time. So I think he knew it was coming, right? Subsequent to Mr. Means entering his appearance establishing his representation of Vallow, and also after the date Mr. Pryor indicated as represented Daybell on April 28, 2020, Mr. Means communicated to the public through social media that he represented Chad Daybell. So now Pryor's saying he's representing him, and so is Mark Means. Like, this is crazy, you guys. The communication states, and we've already read this again, that if any agency wants to talk with Daybell, they are to to contact Mark Means Law, and neither content nor the source of the communication has been disputed. Further, Mark Means emailed prosecutor Rob Wood asking him to provide a press release stating that Mr. Means represented Chad Daybell and no direct investigation efforts relating to Daybell or Vallow to him. Mr. Means also published a press release directly in its camera inquiry. The court also reviewed a phone call recording from the Madison County Jail. The call demonstrates that on April 28, Daybell and Vallow spoke to one another while Vallow was in custody. During the call, Daybell indicated that Mr. Means was Daybell's attorney, and Daybell also knew that Mr. Means was currently Vallow's attorney. That Mr. Means represented Vallow at the time is also clear, as noted in a previously referenced notice of appearance filed in her case. Daybell also stated he eventually going with the other guy, referring to Mr. Pryor. Okay, after that call, on or about May 20th, a bail hearing was held in the Vallow case. At the hearing, Mr. Means represented to the magistrate judge that he represented Daybell as well as Vallow. After, on June 9th, a search warrant was executed on Daybell's property that led to the location and the recovery of the bodies of the two children. The state submits that upon law enforcement's arrival at Daybell's property, Daybell called Mr. Means. Okay, so this is going into June, and asked law enforcement officers to speak with Mr. Means about the warrant. But apparently, he had already hired Mark Means back in March, right? It's confusing. It is undisputed that Daybell called Mr. Means. However, after its in-camera inquiry of the Daybell, the court determines that there is a dispute about the content of the call. Daybell was arrested that day in connection to the ongoing investigation into the death of Vallow's children and charged with felony counts. Okay? On or about June 20th, Fremont County Magistrate Judge Edens also inquired of Mr. Means whether he had ever represented any co-conspirators listed in the complaint attached to Fremont County case, Lori's case. Mr. Means denied that he had represented anyone other than Vallow. Okay? So he just perjured himself. I believe that there may be some repercussions coming towards Mark Means. He's lied to the judge. He's put on the record that he said that he's never represented Daybell, but as we see here, he did. He went on the record several times saying that he represented them both. Okay? So here again, Mr. Means denied that he had represented anyone other than Vallow. His position was unpersuasive, and Judge Edens found that Mr. Means had represented both Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow Daybell. Judge Edens ruled that there was a conflict of interest stemming from Means' concurrent representation. However, the judge concluded that given the nature and tenor of the specific charges in that case, the conflict was waivable. Now, that's just when the first set of charges, the murder charges, hadn't been laid yet. So he said that the conflict was waivable, provided the defendants furnished valid waivers to the court. Give me a second, please. Sorry, you guys. Yeah, it is very confusing here. Andy, both kids were not found in the pet cemetery. Tylee's body, if you go back to my very first readings before the kids were even found, I've got that there was fire. So Tylee's body was cut up, burnt, and buried in the pet cemetery. JJ's body was found a ways away near an old pond. He was, there was no real physical injuries to his body, but he was wrapped and tied up in garbage bags, and he had wood and rocks and everything on top of him, then dirt, then wood and rocks and dirt again. He was buried. His body was intact and was not in the pet cemetery. He was a ways away from it. Yeah, it was under a tree near the pond. Tylee was the only one found in the pet cemetery, and she was, her body was cut up into pieces, burnt, and then buried. So that's what I mean. Let's get our facts straight here, please. Okay. Mods, please watch out. Rosie, just above your last emoji that you put there, there is something here that needs to be removed, and then this user needs to be blocked. That is a link to a sex site. So please pay attention to chat for things like that. You guys can click on it to view, the mods can click on it to view what I just deleted. Please delete anything along those lines and then hide the user on the channel. Sorry, you guys, I was just, yeah, don't just time them out, block them. Hide them from the channel. Brandy, the court starts in about 15 minutes, so I'm trying to get through as much of this as I can. Okay, and now I forget where I was. No, probably Andy. Okay, so this is the gist of it, you guys. We will go over this all in another live. But for now, I'm going to stop sharing that. But this is the gist of it. Mark Means had been saying, I'll just go through the pages quickly. So if you guys do want to read the rest of this, it's all basically just going over what we've already said about the charges and everything. But I will go over it slowly like this. So if you guys do want to read it all, you can just go back on the live once it's up, and you can just pause it and read all this. But basically, the court's going to start soon. So they go in talking about the Sixth Amendment rights to be represented. Explains what a conflict of interest is. I think we're all pretty privy to what that is. Things that Mark Means has said. To proceed forward, the court must determine whether it knows or has reason to know that a conflict exists, and whether actual conflict of interest exists, and if conflict exists, is it waivable? So here's the annals where they cite different cases that have happened. It talks about her competency. Like right now, it's all her cases are stayed and have been for some time. It's just basically repeats of stuff that we already know, but it has to be. Thank you, Momo. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I so much appreciate that. It is time consuming for me, but I do love bringing you this and bringing you guys the information. So thank you so much for your support and for your super chat. I appreciate that. Okay, so I will continue going through this. Like I said, this is in case you guys do want to read every little bit and piece, but it's basically showing what the findings could be, and court stints, what jail stints, what that would be for each charge, stuff like that. They go into, okay, so we will go here because we're almost at the end of this. The court finds an actual conflict. Daybell indicated in the court's camera inquiry that he never believed Mr. Means was his attorney. So he perjured himself there too. He did, however, acknowledge that he had previously talked to Mr. Means and called Mr. Means when the search warrant was executed on his property. This occurred prior to his arrest and subsequent charging of Daybell for the murders of Vallow's children and Daybell's first wife. That acknowledged communication between Mr. Means and Daybell in conjunction with the previously noted representations Mr. Means himself made indicating that he represented Daybell led to the court to conclude that Mr. Means did represent Daybell, although the extent of the representation is unclear. Because Daybell and Vallow are named co-conspirators, necessarily they have interests adverse to one another, and each has a right to counsel who is free to zealously advocate for each of them independently without that ability being hampered by a conflict of interest. Okay, talks about Sixth Amendment rights again. Another consideration weighed into this decision is the capital charges are more than just mere possibility in the Vallow's case. As such, Vallow has a right to a death penalty qualified counsel, which Mark Means was not. Okay, so this just goes on to say why he's made his decision to disqualify Mark Means. Okay, and finally, the very actions taken by Mr. Means raised questions about his ability to continue in his representation of Vallow. Thank you, Andy Crayons, for becoming a member. Welcome to the memberships. Thank you very much for joining. Okay, so there's also concern if there was an intentional or unintentional waiver of Vallow's attorney-client privilege regarding Mr. Means. So an actual conflict exists. Like I said, you guys can read through this if you want, just by going back and watching it afterwards. Okay, so the conclusion, for the foregoing reasons, the state motion is granted. Mr. Means is hereby disqualified as of today's date. So that is from yesterday's date, from representing Lori Vallow in Fremont County in this specific case and all matters related thereunto. Mr. Means cannot represent Lori Vallow in any of these cases. Okay, so with that being said, you guys, that should take care of all the crap that Mark Means has been playing around with. And I'm just going to plug in my little heater here, you guys. It's getting a little chilly here. Now, that should stop a lot of this crap with all these frivolous motions, and hopefully now this can speed stuff up. We do know that there is a capital counsel that has been appointed for Lori Vallow, who has basically been staying in the background and not objecting himself to this crap that Mark Means has been pulling. So I think we may find out some more in this case that is going to be starting very shortly. I am keeping an eye on the Zoom, and I will be bringing you that as soon as it starts. Right now it has not started yet. Yeah, I don't think Chad ever thought that those kids would be found either. I think they thought they pulled off the perfect crime. So let me just give me just a sec, you guys, to get my audio set up here. Yes, Rosie, she is still in the institution. As far as I know, we may find out different today with this hearing. But as far as I can see, she is, but it could be that the file hasn't updated yet. We'll have to wait and see if she is going to be present. The hearing will be starting momentarily in about 10 minutes, and I will be bringing you that live. I can stream the court hearing, so you guys will be seeing this live from the court. Just give me a minute to get my audio set up, you guys, so I don't get no echo or anything like that. It'll take me a minute or two, and I will be right back. Continue to chat amongst yourself and put in the chat, you guys, what you guys think. Should Mark Means be charged with perjury? Should he be charged with all these false filings? Let me know in the chat what you guys think. That's okay, Rosie. I think there's a few things, Courtney, that he can be charged with. Yes, Compute. I think that there should be some serious consequences for what he has done, and continues to try and do. Okay, give me a second, you guys. Okay, so can you guys still hear me here? I had to change mics. Can you put one in the chat if you guys can hear me okay, if this mic is working now? I think there, Andy, I agree, like, being removed from the case is one thing. Hopefully you guys, okay, I'm seeing ones. Okay, thank you. In the legal field, you are held to a higher standard because you have people's freedom and life on the lines. Okay, so for the things that he has done in this case, perjuring himself, lying to the court, saying that he's not representing somebody when he clearly is, he knew that there was a conflict. He just tried to do a little circus around that and try to take focus off that issue so he could, like, this was his moneymaker. He's never done a criminal case before, let alone a criminal case like this when it first started, and which turned into a death penalty case. He's never done it before, so this was going to make his name. This was his moneymaker, and now that's been taken away. So I mean, I think there should be more in by way of here we have a college that deals with Upper Canada Law Society, and college that deals with lawyers like him. I've questioned that, Janine. I've really questioned that. I really questioned that. Yes, what a relief that he is gone. I'm trying to, okay, I got to keep my eye on the court here, on the, so as soon as this Zoom starts, it should be starting momentarily. We'll see if Lori's going to be in court. Wouldn't it be great if she is? Yeah, he definitely fell under her little spell. Yum diddly dum, good morning. Oops. Yeah, he did. Good morning. It hasn't started yet. I did go over the filing that that we now know that this was filed back in July of this year to have him removed. So that's why when we were watching the court cases before, they kept going into breakout rooms because they were discussing stuff like this. Yeah, major money, major money. Sorry, I'm behind in chat, you guys. I'm trying to. Rosie Mark has stepped to the portal. You're very welcome, Louisiana girl. I'm glad that I can bring this to you guys. Okay, so when this gets into the court thing, you guys, please put a 1 in the chat if you can hear everything without an echo. Hi, Corey. Christmas was great. Thank you. I hope yours was too. Had a little scare last night with a gas leak, so I do know now why my throat has been as bad as it is, and the hacking and coughing. We had a little gas leak, so that's been taken care of. Thank gosh. I had the fire department here at 1 a.m. in the morning. So yes, what I'm going to ask you is once I get the courtroom up, the Zoom up on screen, I need you guys just to let me know that you guys are hearing it correctly. Not until. Okay. My niece is saying she's on mom's phone. Okay. Yeah. What had happened as we're waiting for this courtroom to start for everybody to get in? Yeah, it was scary, and I couldn't figure out why the carbon monoxide detector kept going off. One would, so I brought one from upstairs, brought it down in the basement. One was going off, but the other one wasn't. It's crazy. Rosie says, "Hi, Bailey." No, it's not Bailey. It's Gabby that's on Dez's phone. Yeah, there's some fandanglings going on. Like it has been said that Chad was under the understanding that if I guess if he kept Mark Means on as an attorney for whatever, then he couldn't be forced to testify against Lori. Thank you, Titan. Yeah, I mean, it's not as bad, I guess, as it sounds. I guess it could have been if it got worse. But it was a small leak, but enough to cause irritation in my throat, sinuses. That's what's been making my asthma act up and stuff like that. It wasn't the exhaust from the furnace, it was in the line itself. So it would explain why the gas bill has been so high too. Hi, Sammy. Happy holidays to you too. I hope everybody has a happy and safe New Year's Eve. I will not be drinking. I had a couple glasses of wine with my kids on Christmas and paid the price for 2 days. So if anybody was wondering why I didn't do a live on Sunday, I thought that I was on death's door. Self-inflicted. I knew I should have had only one little small glass, but I had two and paid for it for the next couple of days after Christmas. So yeah, I will not be doing I will be toasting with my coffee. Yes, thank God it was caught on time. We still don't know what set the CO detector off, but I'm going out after I'm finished here. But I did promise you guys this, so I am going to bring it to you. But once this is done, I will be going out to my local Canadian Tire, and buying 3 brand new ones, one for each level of my house. Yeah, CompTube, coffee is the way to go. And I'm assuming that I will be called a lot for rides home after these children drink their faces off and whatever they're going to do. But yes, I will be sticking to coffee and cheersing in the new year if I'm awake with coffee. I am never going through a hangover like that again. And people wonder why I stopped drinking years ago. This is why. Oh, here we go. Okay, you guys. Let me get this up. It has started. They're just entering the courtroom now.
On this matter, this is case CR 22-21-1624, State versus Lori Vallow. Representing Ms. Vallow is Jim Archibald. For the state of Idaho, we have Rachel Smith, Rob Wood, and Lindsay Blake appearing on motions that were filed.
Okay, glad you guys can all hear it.
Mr. Woodard on behalf of the non-parties, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and William John Dowling. And Mr. Swanton is appearing as counsel for the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare. Scheduled today are hearings on motions to quash or modify subpoenas duces tecum that were filed by attorney Mark Means in this case. The court is live streaming these proceedings on YouTube to allow for public access. We are also recording this on the FTR system to make the record, as well as we have a court reporter here today. So I will note on the record that just prior to the hearing today, I had a telephone conference with counsel to discuss developments in this case and make sure counsel were aware of that. So the motions that have been filed involve subpoenas that were issued to different parties who are appearing today and contesting those subpoenas. And that's Mr. Swanton and Mr. Woodard on behalf of their clients. Those subpoenas were issued by attorney Mark Means. Late yesterday afternoon, the court issued a memorandum decision and order which served to disqualify Mr. Means from further representation of the defendant in this case. So Mr. Means, pardon me, there's a loud vehicle out there, but Mr. Means is no longer the attorney of record on that case pursuant to that court's order, which became effective when it was issued yesterday. Mr. Archibald was appointed as co-counsel some time ago on the case and continues to represent the client, Mrs. Vallow, and she's currently receiving restorative treatment through the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare after the court made a finding of not competent to proceed in the case at this time. So where that leaves us then is Mr. Archibald is here as the sole attorney at this point in the case. And based on the telephonic discussion, a couple of things, I understand Mr. Archibald was made aware yesterday of the order disqualifying his co-counsel. Also, I was made aware that both Mr. Swanton and Mr. Woodard had not yet received that and were not aware of that information. So based on that, I guess I'll start. Typically, we would call the case in terms of the moving parties and see where we're at. But in fairness, I think I'd like to let Mr. Archibald indicate where he stands on these motions that were filed today and whether or not we can proceed on those today. So Mr. Archibald, what are your thoughts on that?
Your Honor, first of all, Mr. Means indicated to me 2 days ago that he would be seeking a continuance of today's hearing. He indicated that to me on Monday, and I did not see a motion to vacate the hearing or a motion to continue, but in any event, that's what I learned from Mr. Means on Monday. And then last night, in seeing the court's order, disqualifying Mr. Means. I'm wondering about what Ms. Lori Vallow Daybell knows or understands about this hearing. So if we postpone this hearing to another day, I think that would give my client, who is mentally ill in a mental hospital, give her time to digest, so to speak, the court's order from yesterday. If the court wants to proceed today, I have reviewed the subpoenas that Mr. Means issued. I have reviewed the responses from Mr. Swanton and Mr. Woodard. So if push comes to shove and the court wants me to proceed today, then I'm ready to do that. I would prefer to be able to talk to Ms. Lori Vallow Daybell, even though she is mentally ill. I would like to explain the recent developments. And according to the affidavit of Nicole Cleveland from Health and Welfare, she does watch these hearings from the mental hospital. And so she could be watching now, and this could be news to her that that Mr. Means has been disqualified. So that would be my preference.
All right, thank you, Archibald. Understanding we're kind of taking this up in reverse, but why don't I hear next from Mr. Swanton on behalf of the Department of Health and Welfare on your thoughts on the hearing as it's scheduled for today?
The department has no objection to the hearing being continued. The only request would be that the continued hearing would still be sealed in the future.
All right, thank you, Mr. Swanton. Mr. Woodard, what are your thoughts on behalf of your clients?
Your Honor, we have no objection. I will note that Mr. Archibald, during our telephone conference, said that we may be able to resolve some of the issues ahead of time, and I'm open to doing that as well.
All right, thanks for those representations. Well, it is a development in the case that I think the timing is such that for a few reasons, I think for the efficiency of the issue, if there are potentially any resolutions that can be reached outside of a contested hearing on these subpoenas, this is essentially a discovery dispute at this point. In the world of civil cases, what we would call it would be a meet and confer, and I would request maybe the council do that, given the status of the case, to have Mr. Archibald communicate with Mr. Swanton and Mr. Woodard about the objections made to the subpoenas and determine if there is any agreement on the scope of those subpoenas. And then if we still have contested issues that I need to rule on, I'm prepared to do that, and could do that on very short notice because I was prepared for the hearing as well today. So we will go ahead and continue both motions. I would just request the council discuss the subpoenas with this latest development and Mr. Archibald's thoughts on what is required to be produced in discovery. And if you reach an agreement, notify the court and we won't need to hold another hearing. If there are still issues that require my determination, then let us know. And again, on fairly short notice, I think we can get this rescheduled and go through those issues, and then the court will make a ruling on the scope of those subpoenas that were issued. So based on that, then this hearing will be vacated and continued if necessary. If we don't need a hearing because you've reached an agreement, then notify the court. So that'll be the extent of the proceedings this morning. Mr. Archibald, any questions or anything else we need to discuss today?
No, thank you. I'll discuss those subpoenas with counsel. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Mr. Archibald. Mr. Swanton, anything further?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Mr. Woodard, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, well, counsel, thanks for your appearances this morning. Appreciate your attendance, and we will be in recess.
Okay, so there we have it, you guys. It's been vacated again. Sealed means that it's not going to be available to the public. There's going to be probably some discussions. I guess I should put this up. There's probably going to be some discussions regarding Lori Vallow that are confidential. So those things remain sealed. Being that Mr. Archibald is going to discuss with Lori what happened yesterday with the court ordering of Mark Amin's disqualified. He's going to have that discussion with Lori, and I can see Lori pulling a little fit. I think that she was quite attached to Mr. Means. So you're very welcome, Dana. Yes, once again postponed. Well, not really a big nothing, Louisiana girl. What we do know now is she is still in the mental hospital. I do believe that things are going to roll around a lot faster and easier now that it's Mr. Archibald that is in charge. I do think that they are all relieved that Mark Means is finally gone. The frivolous motions and everything else that he had filed, and I can see why Mr. Archibald wanted to step back from it and not partake in a lot of these hearings. We didn't see him being part of it, and I think that's for good reason. If I was a criminal lawyer, I would not want to be attached to the likes of Mark Means either. It just blew my mind. I know that the United States laws are somewhat different from Canadian law that I'm used to. I worked for many years, over 30 years, in the criminal legal system here in Canada, from everything from process serving to skip tracing to private investigations to bail hearings, working in the criminal law, working for many different criminal lawyers. I did that for many years. So it was really I was dumbfounded at a lot of the things that Mark Means was trying to pull. Now, I tried to research as much as I could with the differences between our laws here in Canada and the US. They're pretty much the same, except for sentencing and stuff like that. The laws are pretty much the same. But these motions that he was filing and trying to get, the biggest no-no was trying to get Rob Wood off this case. And you're setting yourself up there for rough waters between you and the prosecution, where things usually flowed quite easily and with some kind of respect from both sides. Mark Means put an axe in that very early from the beginning. So the fallout of that is what we're seeing now. Him perjuring himself, saying that he didn't represent Chad when he did. He made it a point of wanting a public release on that and releasing that information on public social media himself. He set himself up for this. But I think what clouded his vision was, I'm going to make a name for myself in the criminal law field instead of civil. I think that he got in way over his head very early on, but the narcissist that he seems to be, and he's projected that well, that he thought that he could skate his way through this. He was caught many times. He's seen this as an opportunity to make himself known in the criminal law society and make a lot of money. So I think when lawyers like that put the dollar signs before competency, that's a big problem. And I'm going to say it right now, and like I always do, you guys, in my lives, I think that he's going to have some issues. We call it the Upper Canada Law Society here, and they can revoke your license. I don't know if that's going to happen with Mark Means, but I think that he is going to be he's going to be looked at really hard. And there is another one, you guys, for my mods, just above you again, Rosie. I'm going to block this person too. I don't know why YouTube and stuff doesn't have some kind of way of blocking these people that come in and put this VOY.FYI. It brings you to a sex site. They do block a lot of comments. A lot of people are saying, why are you removing my comment? YouTube does that sometimes. So I don't know why they can't do it with these idiots, but hello, Justice Janie. Yeah, it showed on the, you'll see it now that I deleted it. Rosie, it was just above where you said he looked foolish in front of his peers. The Agneta waiter or whatever, that's the one that I removed. Okay, I'm going to bring over my, I won't be able to put your comments up on the screen, you guys, because now I'm in my studio, so I can keep an eye on these things and block them right away. Now I forget where I was. If Mark Means writes a book, the only way I would buy it is through a Goodwill store, so they get the profit. I wouldn't even buy it there. Courtney says, Willow, they do block them. They just start new accounts. Yeah, but the thing is, they should never be allowed up on the chat to begin with. And these people have gotten smart, you guys. They don't put a blue link anymore or try it because I've got links. That's the only reason that my mods are the only ones that are allowed to post links with the blue link. So they got wise to that, these troll things, and now they're just putting a FYI dot something or other, and it does the same thing. So I don't know why YouTube hasn't caught on to that yet and automatically blocked them so we don't have to deal with them. But anyway, please do not click on any of those .com or whatever they are. They bring you, they could be fishing for information. They bring you to a sex site and all this, and it could download a lot of nasty stuff onto your computers. So I am sorry for that. It's beyond my control. I try my best, you guys. Yeah, it's not showing as a link. It just shows they've gotten, that's what I was just trying to explain, Andy, is, where is that? Yeah. It just shows up. I'm going to put something like it shows up TRP dot say EYE or something, what I just posted here. Instead of posting a blue link, they post something like this, but with different letters with that dot here. And it ends up being a link to a sex site, which can infiltrate your computers and do some whacked out stuff. And YouTube has to get wise to that because it can cause some problems. So I'm going to stay in my, the only thing with this, with me being in the YouTube studio and talking to you guys from here, is I can't put your comments on the screen. I can only do that through StreamYards. Hello, Marines. Yeah, it's strange. How about I just put this on my other screen? I'll do that. I'll put it back on my other screen and I'll just, yeah, I do report them and I block them, Titan. Yeah, I can just see Mark Means. If you guys want my honest opinion, I think that there's going to be sanctions that the Law Society in the US is going to nail him with. If they don't pull his license, they're going to give him sanctions and they're going to give him fines, huge fines. Okay. Now it's just rumor. So I want to make this clear. I have not been able to verify this, but from what I've heard is, Mark Means is having a lot of trouble getting clients. A really hard time getting clients. So this could be the reason why. I'm just checking my stream settings here, you guys, because I seem to be buffering. Are you guys seeing buffering at all? Well, hello, Missy. Miss Tibblue. I am in Ontario, Canada. I'm up near the, I'm up Ottawa area. Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Okay, Tina, you take care, hon. Thank you for stopping in. So, okay, where was I here? So, yeah, okay, thank you, you guys. Hi, Joy. So, what I think is going to happen is I think that this Law Society, oh, Thunder Bay, you guys are a lot colder than we are right now. So, welcome from Thunder Bay, Ontario. You're a little jog from me. So, what I think is going to happen is I think the Law Society in the US is going to give him some kind of sanctions, maybe some fines if they don't pull his license. Lying to the court, lying to a judge, that he perjured himself several times. Saskatchewan, yes, Saskatchewan is pretty cold. I've got family out in Alberta. They've been getting hit pretty bad too. So I think that's going to happen. I also do think, as I forget who it was now, I'm jumping all over the place here, but I do think that Mark Means is going to try and contact Lori. I agree, Andy. I do think that he's egotistical and narcissist enough that I think he's going to try and contact Lori. And if not, I think he's going to go to the media. Like, I'm not subscribed to him on Twitter or anything, but I may just have to follow him just for the next few days to see. There's another one, Josephine Reynolds, piss off. Goodbye. Goodbye, Josephine Reynolds. Take your sex crap somewhere else. Yeah, I think he's going to, I hope he loses his license, because what he showed in this case is that he doesn't care about following the law. And to do what he did and knowing what he did, you know, he perjured himself. He lied to the judge. He lied to the court. And he knew he was lying. Yeah, I got it, lovely lady. Okay, so Courtney says, I know here in America, only family can get into mental hospitals to see patients, nobody outside of family, except for your lawyers, legal counsel. And if they're not aware of this, don't forget, this was just done very late yesterday afternoon. So the mental hospital may not be privy to this information yet. So if he tries to do something like that, he could be arrested. And Archibald is going to be probably contacting the hospital also to let them know that Mark Means should not be allowed contact with her, if that has not been done already. But I can see Mark Means trying to contact her. And yeah, this is going to be interesting now. Can you imagine, you guys? It was stated in the paperwork too that Mark Means and John Pryor share office space. So can you see them passing in the hallway now? Like, I know John Pryor seemed to have a dislike for him nearing the end. But can you see them in passing, like them each coming out of their offices and banging into each other? And, you know, can you imagine Mark Means having to see John Pryor every day, knowing that John Pryor is still on the case, but he has been disqualified? Like, it's, oh my gosh. Yeah. sitting in the lunchroom having a coffee. What are they going to discuss now? God bless you too, Betty Smith. Thank you for jumping in this morning. So I'm going to be watching, well, I do get notifications of any court dates through Vine. So if there is another hearing scheduled, this one today was vacated for obvious reasons with the smart means disqualification coming on board. Now, another thing I'm going to tell you guys is there is going to have to be another lawyer appointed to Lori. For death penalty cases, you need somebody death penalty qualified, and you need a second lawyer. You're always required to have 2 in death penalty cases. So one has to be death penalty qualified, which Jim Archibald already is. So there may be another underlink, a criminal lawyer, nothing like the likes of Mark Means. So another criminal lawyer will have to be brought in on this case. And that's for obvious reasons. Love you too, sis. It's for obvious reasons because they keep each other in line, right? Have each other held accountable. And that's one of the main reasons I know here in Canada that if you're getting a death penalty case, we don't have the death penalty here, but if we're getting a case that's life in prison, no parole, stuff like that, you need 2 lawyers. And it's to make sure stuff like this does not happen, that a lawyer is not doing things frivolously or against the statutes and the laws that they're bound by. So I'm anxious to see who the next lawyer is going to be, who's going to be brought in on this case. But Jim Archibald will have at least one, if not a few. There's going to be underlinks that he's going to have from his own firm that are going to be helping him. But there's also going to be another outside lawyer that has to be brought in, and that's to make sure things are kept on track. Rosie says, I'm kicking Des. Des is still driving. Don't kick her. Okay, Dana, thank you for joining. So that pretty much wraps it up, you guys. Unless anybody else has any other questions, I'm going to let you guys get back to your day. I do have to run out and go grab some new carbon monoxide detectors and get them installed to make sure things are safe here. I can hear Pryor saying, well, quite honestly, I never liked Mark anyway. Yeah. Hello, Nana. I think John Pryor was getting a little upset. Rosie, no, she's not texting and driving. She's got my niece doing all the texting for her while she drives. Diane, hello from cold part of Canada. I'm in a pretty cold part of Canada too. I'm in the northern Ontario, Ottawa Valley area. Thank you, Nana. Thank you, Sweet Sherry. You're very welcome, you guys. And thank you for the ones who did give the super chats. Thank you. It does help support the channel and helps me bring you these lives. Freja says, I'm very petty. I wanted to see his, just honest for the record, Freja. I would have liked to see his reaction too. Hi, Bruce. Yes, I did. And I hope you enjoyed your Christmas too. I had a wonderful Christmas. Other than having one glass of wine too much and hungover for the next 2 days. I had, I think, 2.5, almost 3 glasses of wine, and I paid the price for the next couple of days. So I will not be toasting in the new year with any alcohol. I'm good for another year. But my kids were all here, my grandkids and that, so I had to have one, and one led to 2, that led to almost 3, and that was it. Justice Janie, you're very welcome. I hope you loved your shirt. Oh, Mr. Baloo, thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. That will be used to help with the channel. I thank you very much for that. I appreciate every little bit helps, so I thank you. Deanne says, nice to see you, Canadian Channel. Yeah, I've been here for over a year now. I think a year and 4 months. I've been around since 2010, but to go and start my own channel and stuff like that, it's been a year and a half. It was somebody that I did a private read for on a case that told me that I should jump on here and start doing reads on cases. So that's the main thing for this channel, but you guys like it when I bring these updates and court coverage and stuff like that. So I do it for you guys. So yes, the donations do help with me being able to do that. So I appreciate that very much. But the major focus of the channel is I do Ancestor and Oracle reads on these missing persons cases and death cases and stuff like that. Yes, I want everyone to have a happy and safe New Year's. If you drink, please do not drive. I have a funny feeling I'm going to be the sober one on New Year's Eve, so I have a funny feeling I will be getting a lot of phone calls for rides home, which I have no problem. I would rather do that than have anybody drink and drive. So, oh, thank you, Bubsby. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. It's appreciated. Are you friends with Linda from It's a Crime? I have spoken with Linda. She's on the West Coast. She's out British Columbia way. So I have spoken with her a few times, but I do cover these things. She covers more in depth. I try to just cover the court proceedings and stuff like that. When things breaking cases and stuff like that, I try to stick to card reading. But I love Linda. So those of you who have not heard about Linda from It's a Crime, she has a channel, It's a Crime. Go on over there and take a look at her channel, and she does a lot of in-depth investigations. She's not part of law enforcement in the real world, but she has a lot of knowledge of it. Her husband is also, I believe, a medic. So he gives a lot of good insight into medical questions that a lot of her subscribers have. So he gives a lot of insight and helps her out a lot there too. Really good channel. So if you haven't heard of her, it's called It's a Crime on YouTube. And her name is Linda. You can tell her that I sent you. That would be awesome. Bruce, don't drink. Bruce says, don't drink anymore. I was drunk. I've got 22 years clean and sober. Congratulations. I never was one that got into drugs. Thank God. I praise God every day for that I never did get into that. But congratulations. That is something to be very proud of. And we are all proud of you, Bruce. I think me, as I got older, I didn't like not being in control of myself anymore. And although everybody said that I was a very funny drunk, I'm getting close to 60 years old, and it's time to leave that in the past. So yeah, so now when I used to be able to drink better than some guys, twice my size. But now it's like a glass of wine and I'm already tipsy. 2 glasses, I'm pretty much pissed. 3 glasses, I'm almost comatose. So I stay away from it, except for occasions like this. My kids and that were all here. So have a glass of wine, Mom, have a glass of wine. So yes. Yes, and thank you to everybody who did join and became a member. Yeah. Oh, Missy, I'm so sorry to hear that. Yeah, I've lost a lot of good people too in my life. So, it's sad. It's sad all the way around. Yeah, Rosie, oh, my head was pounding. I was never one to be able to drink wine to begin with, but, oh, One Pod Screamer. Linda, that's my girl. I'm a mod on her channel. It's a crime. Yes. Jessica. Oh, crap. You can't put it up. I was going to say put a link. Maybe put the link and I might be able to see it. And if I can, I will copy it and post it in my chat because I've got links blocked. There's a virtual hug for you from AAG, Bruce. Yes, I'm so sorry to hear about that, Missy. It's sad. Des, if you have the link, oh, you're driving, never mind. Rosie, if you maybe have the link to It's a Crime, Linda, you can post that. The only ones that can post links are my mods. Jessica, but if you post her link to her channel, it may come up on mine and I'll be able to copy it. It's sad. It's gotten really bad in my hometown too. Okay, let me just go over and grab her link. Hang on. I'm just going to go and grab her link so I can post it here because her channel is a great channel. Okay, so yes, and there is my sister's channel. You guys can go over. Please subscribe to that. We're going to be doing a lot of fun stuff over on this channel here that I have up on the screen, Darren D. Dauntless Detours. If you guys are interested in spirit box sessions, EVP, stuff like that, both my sister and I'm going to be jumping onto her channel quite a bit, and we're going to be doing some fun stuff over there. So if you haven't subscribed, copy that link too, and go give her a subscribe too, and you'll be able to see all the fun stuff that we do over there. So here is the link to here's the link to Linda's channel. There you go. You can copy that link there. And her name is Linda. You can let her know that I sent you over. Go give her a like and a subscribe. I can't speak right now. And let her know I sent you over. She's got a lot of in-depth stuff too. So she's not a card reader or anything like that. She just goes and does a lot of deep dives into cases and gets a lot of information about the cases. Yes, there's my sister again saying she's sorry for not being super active today, but she is driving. It's my niece that is posting via my sister's name there. So yes, Linda is very good. And yes, she's another one. I don't know what it is about us Canadians, but we like facts. Stick to the facts, nothing more. Nothing more, nothing less. And she is very good. So like I said, her husband is a medic or a paramedic, and he has a lot of insight on different aspects of cases too, from the medical side. So it's interesting. I don't have a lot of time to watch other channels right now, but if I do happen to have time and I see people, I am subscribed to Linda. If I do see stuff pop up, I do try and get over there and give her a super chat and help support her channel too. I just love supporting the channels that I subscribe to. So I try to do that as often as I can. Even though I can't stay in the chats or watch the whole video, I do very much support other creators. Okay, so yes, it's okay, Rosie. We're going to pack up. I do have to go and get my stuff done here. I have to go and get some more carbon monoxide detectors. That's very important. So Congratulations, Jessica. Jessica says, I'm an addict in long-term recovery. I've been clean from pills for 9 years, May 8th, 2022. Congratulations, Jessica. Very proud of you. Anybody that takes that step and realizes, the first step is realizing you have a problem, and everything is, great from there. You work on yourself. So very proud of you, and congratulations on your 9 years on May 8th. Link again to the channel for my sister. We will be doing some fun stuff over there. So yes, everybody, please stay safe. Have a very happy and safe New Year's. If you drink, please do not drive. I want to see you guys all back here again after the New Year's. Jessica, I got it, hun. I did post it. Let me just scroll back up here. Here we go, right here. There is Linda at It's a Crime. You don't have to put the It's a Crime, just put the from the HTTPS on. If you highlight that, it will bring you to It's a Crime on YouTube. Great channel. Okay, so I'm going to let you guys all go. Big hearts back to you too, Justice Janie. I'm going to let you guys all go, get back to your days. I do have to step out. I've got to go and get these carbon monoxide detectors taken care of. So until the next time, you guys, please take care of yourselves. Please stay safe. Thank you to my mods for being here. Thank you for all of you being here. Much love, much appreciation. Thank you for the super chats. It does help and it's appreciated. And we will see you again. If any other breaking news pops off, I will jump back on. Everybody, yes, Corey H., please stay safe. Until the next time, you guys, please take care of yourselves. Love you to the moon and back. Bye-bye for now.